So, good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Acharya Vishvendra. I shall be talking on the quantum fields and string theory. This is my second video on this topic. So, the question is that how I thought in terms of these theories, it's that if we think in terms of energy, then just think what is source of energy, the fundamental source of energy. Let's start by a thought experiment. Suppose we start by ourselves. Just think that what is source of energy within us. So you will say that we get energy from the food. Now again the question comes, from where energy gets in the food? So it's because of the photosynthesis and ultimately related to the energy of sun. Now question comes, from where energy gets in the sun? So it's because of the nuclear fusion. Again question comes, from where energy gets in the fusion? So it's because of the nuclear energy, we say. The question is, from where energy comes in the nucleus? It's because of the mass defect, and which is fundamentally related to energy. So it explains that fundamentally everything is related to energy. So the source of energy is the energy present in the mass itself at the very fundamental level. And what is that mass? That mass is composed of atoms. Atoms are further composed of electrons, protons, neutrons, which are further composed of quarks, which are further composed of strings, which are vibrating with a certain frequency, and these possess energy at the minutest level that we can think of. So the question is that the source of energy is fundamentally related to the vibrations. It is the vibrations which is the fundamental source of holding up energy. And if by certain mechanism we can change the frequency, then certainly we can change the energy of that particular system. And there is something called as the law of conservation of mass and energy, which is that the mass and energy of the entire cosmos is constant. Before the Big Bang, everything was in terms of energy because there was no mass as per the theory of the Big Bang. And by certain mechanism, that energy got converted into mass, and still things are going on. The universe is still expanding. So there is something called as the law of conservation of mass and energy. If we think at the cosmic scale, that conservation of energy itself is not valid. In fact, the most fundamental thing is law of conservation of mass and energy. Energy certainly can be destroyed to produce mass, and energy can be created from nowhere if some mass is lost, which is the source of energy in the nuclear bombs, in the nuclear power plants, in the atomic bombs. So right now we just know this much. But the question again comes that what is the fundamental source of energy? So as explained to you, the fundamental source of energy can be related to the vibrations of the strings or the frequency of the vibration. So in a way we can say that it is the frequency which is a measure of the energy of a system. Just visualize this in terms of music. When you listen to a melodious music, don't you feel that something inside you has got changed? We say that our vibes has changed. So this is a transfer of frequency, and because of that transfer of frequency, there is a certainly transfer of energy and momentum from the source of that particular music to the observer. Now, if we think more deeply, then let me to explain this to you. Just a moment. Suppose that you are feeling low. Let's start with an experimental example. You are feeling low, you have low vibes. You have low vibes because your mind-brain system is actually resonating at a low frequency, because of which you feel negative vibes like anxiety, fear, depression, lack of focus. You are feeling these negative vibes. That means that frequency of your mind-brain system is low. Now suppose you listen to a powerful music, motivating music, or let's say, a powerful beat music, which has very high vibes. So it will interact with you. You will listen through your ears, and you can say that auditory information will be sent to the temporal lobe of the brain. Here is the temporal lobe, and that temporal lobe will will listen to the will decode the frequency of that particular sound, and because of that the resonating frequency of the brain will change, and you will feel a certain change in yourself. Even things which you are feeling are because of the brain waves. And when you listen to a melodious music or a stimulating music, then the frequency of the mind brain system gets changed. That is why you feel better. So the entire mechanism of listening to the music is changing the brainwave frequencies of your system that stimulates you to the higher states of consciousness that ultimately increases the frequency of your brainwaves. So this vibration and frequency and energy is also related to how we feel. Whatever we feel, whatever we say as the mind, is just a wave. It's not a physical thing, it's a metaphysical thing. Suppose here is the person, you certainly know that he has got the brain. It can be shown by the physical experiments. But there is no physical experiment that can show the existence of the mind. Because mind is so minute that it is beyond the limit of resolution of measuring instruments. That's why we cannot prove the existence of the mind. But internally, as perception, we know that mind is, for a normal person, which is beyond the physical things, mind is everything. Mind contains emotions, and a normal person is driven by emotions generally. Throughout the life, he is driven by the emotions. He is trying to create something, a situation in life because of which his emotions are good. He feels positive vibes. And he tried to suppress everything or to destroy everything that induces negative feelings in him, like fear, anxiety, depression, low feelings, etc. So the entire life of a general person is in creating a system which induces positive thoughts, positive feelings, and suppresses negative feelings, and which is the sole reason of every misery and pain, because there are certain things which are beyond our control. We can't control everything, we can only control certain specific things. And the moment we try to control the external things, it becomes impossible for us, and it changes our frequency of our mind-brain system, and ultimately leading to failures in life. And instead of working on ourselves, we are trapped in external, you can say, the stray frequencies. So right now what we can say is that ultimately everything is related to the frequency. Every type of energy, even the feelings that we have, the mind that we think, is itself a wave, because it's metaphysical. Although it is thought that there exists, let me to tell you about this. Suppose that, let's think in terms of perception. Suppose there is a particular person, suppose this is you. So what, this is your body, which is just at the physical level. You must have realized that there is a certain thought process or thoughts or emotions or energy, what we call as the mind. But there exists a third thing, which is the soul itself. And soul, or it's the observer within you. There is something within you which knows everything, which is the ultimate operator of the information being fed to your mind-brain system by the surrounding. So that can be called the soul or the observer, or in Hindu mythology this is called the drashta. Drashta means the silent observer within you, which is observing everything without going into the emotional conflicts, without going into the mind. Because mind is nothing but a disturbance. Mind does not disturb, it's the disturbance itself. I shall talk to you in the next